I've come to see life as a game that a lot of people are not aware of at all. And I feel that this game, although it's okay to see life as the game that it is, it can be quite dangerous if people don't develop the awareness to see that they are playing in the game of life. For me, I think that a lot of people aren't aware that they're playing in the game of life. So they take life seriously. They take life way too serious in some circumstances. From birth, a baby comes out. That baby has entered into the game. That baby is now making eye contact with its mother and learning the gestures, making eye contact, learning how to move their hands and their fingers, learning the sounds of what the world's around them. So that way, that baby can learn to copy and paste all these movements mainly for comfortability and survival. That baby is going to do everything it can subconsciously to mimic its primary caregivers because it feels good and it's a form of survival. And I think that's where the game starts. And then you enter into your childhood where now the new competition, the new game is that kid is working hard to earn mom and dad's love and acceptance. It's working hard to get the best grades in school, to have the nicest clothes, to have the nicest toys. That kid is now going to work hard to get the best grades and the gold stars in class and to be the fastest if they're running track, or to be the best soccer player, or to compare themselves continuously to other performers in their grade to see where they're at and how they fall short or how they're winning. And then you enter into your teen years, which the game continues. And in your teen years, now the new game is who's cool. Who's the coolest? Who's the fastest? Who's the person that's the funniest? Who's the guy that can get the most girls? Who's the girl that can have the coolest guy or the jock? Who's the person who has the way to make everyone laugh and to make them their best friend? Who's the person who's accepted by everybody versus who's the person who no one wants to be around and be seen with? Who's the person who's voted to be most successful? Who's the person who's probably gonna fall and fell in life? And then you move forward to adulthood where the real game continues to pick up. And that adulthood is who has the most money, who has the best job, who's the most stable, who's the one with the highest college degree, who's the person who works the hardest, who's the person who's lazy, who's the person who has a family at such a young age that they can't control themselves and they look horrible to the society. They don't look good because they're young and they're trying to manage all these children and they're unfit to be parents. Who's the person who has a successful relationship, who waited and who is now older with children and stable? Who are the families with the most money to their names, who have the best education, who have access to the best education versus who are the ones who don't have access to good education? This competition continues until you're on your elderly deathbed. And God willing, you have that mentality, and humans have that ability and that conscious awareness to see that they are still alive. They don't have dementia, they don't have Alzheimer's. And it's, to me, it's sad to see that a person has to make it to their elderly years sitting on their deathbed to realize this was a game the whole time. And I still feel that unfortunately a majority of those people still don't see that it's a game. So they die, and they die passing on pain and a generation of pain to let that curse go on to the next generation, where they see that the competition was not to their liking, so they're going to make their kids feel the burden of that pain. And then you have children now competing against their parents, and then you have parents competing against their children, all because people are projecting their downfalls on others. So therefore, they're trying to instill prosperity and hard work and determination on one another so they can try to make up and compensate for where they fell short in life. When at the end of the day, a person not having that ability to see life for the game that it is technically going to lose, because you basically live your whole life in competition with one another and you never get to embrace the true person that someone is. You don't get to live and to see people for their true facets that they bring to this life. we see people as, okay, how am I gonna win? How am I gonna win? There's so many people. I'm one of the people who drive my car, and then when the light's red, I'm waiting. As soon as that light turns green, taking off. Who's the first one to take off? On the freeway, in the fast lane. All right, there's a slow car. We got to get around this guy. He's in the fast lane. Scoot over. You're in the fast lane. You're not supposed to be in the fast lane. You're driving slow. Realistically, I feel that the answer to this life is when you can identify at the youngest age possible that life is a game, you can check out of the game at any time. You can push pause and say, you know what, I'm going to stop. I'm going to reflect on my life. I'm going to take my time. Why am I in competition? I am now defining my joy is now being defined by, did I do good in school? My joy is now being defined by, am I do I have a six pack versus that guy? And my joy in life is now going to be defined by who has the nicest car, who has the biggest 401k, who has the greatest job, who has the most successful kids. And then we continue to hinder each other, and to me I see that as a fallacy towards humanity, because I understand that competition derives from the aspect of survival from humans through the caveman days. But until we can develop that awareness, where once we're adult ages, the consent, we're adults that become of consenting age, that's our now it's now our responsibility to take life into our own hands and to see that it is a game that does not have to be played. You can take your sweet time and do whatever you want to do because you want to do it, rather than thinking that you have to do something because society lays out rules on the board for you, but you never saw that it was a game. And these poor people live their lives not being able to cherish significant moments with their loved ones because they had to work every day, because they had anger issues every day, because they were depressed every day and wanted to stay away from their kids or stay away from their families. And it's often it happens too often that people fall out of love. They fall out of their families and they die alone. They die feeling abandoned, like they accomplished nothing, even though they have all the accolades and the trophies on the walls to prove that they did something and they were significant. But all competition and games do is keep your brain in this reality that you're not enough. You're never going to be enough. It's not going to happen because there's always going to be someone faster than you. There's always going to be someone better than you, someone stronger than you, someone this, someone that. I recommend to take your time in life and to step away from the game and pause and never play it again if you don't want to, but see it as a game so that way you're not burning people to get somewhere. We should not have to hurt one another to be the top. We should not have to hurt one another to feel like we're actually getting somewhere in life, because to me that's a fallacy in itself. Embrace life, take your sweet time and see that it is a game, so you can come back at that game at your own pace. If they're playing chess, play poker, play something totally different, and see how life can start to open up in the most wonderful way.